Hello. Today's lesson is about multiplying fractions by fractions. We're going to work using the former knowledge that you built up in the other lesson about how to multiply fractions by whole numbers. Shouldn't be any trouble for you, but I am going to go into great detail, and then at the end I'm going to show you how to do things in a more straightforward manner. So bear with it, make sure that you try to understand everything, but remind yourself that at the end you'll be able to see how to do things in a very straightforward way. Okay, we're going to start by using 30. So here's 30. It's 10 by 3 makes 30 dots. 30 times a half is 15. Here's one half of it. Here's the other half. There's 15 in each piece. 30 times 1/2 times 1/3 equals 5. But let's take a look. See, here's the half, and here's the 1/3 of the half. But how many of those are there? There are 6, aren't there? Therefore, this should be the same as 30 times 1/6. 30 times a half times 1/3 must be the same as 30 times 1/6. Therefore, 1/2 times 1/3 has to be the same as 1/6. Here is 1/2 times 1/3. That turns into 1/6. 30 is the same as 30. Therefore, 1/2 times 1/3 must be 1/6. Well, where do we get 6 from? Well, we do 2 times 3 equals 6. And where do we get 1 from? 1 times 1 equals 1. Therefore, 2/3 times 4/5 must be 8/15. 2 times 4 equals 8. 3 times 5 equals 15. So if we have any two fractions and we multiply them together, then you do numerator times numerator equals numerator, which I've written as A times C equals AC, and we know that's multiplication because there's nothing between them, and remember, nothing means multiply. A times C means AC. B times D equals BD, which is denominator times denominator equals denominator. Okay, so let's try it. 3 times 5 is 15. 8 times 7 is 56. So 3/8 times 5/7 equals 15/56. 4 times 14 equals 56. 9 times 50 is 90 plus 45 is 135. 4 times 14, 9 times 5, 3 times 5, 8 times 7. Easy enough? I'm sure you've seen that before. So, if I did 8/35 times 21/20, I would do 8 times 21, which is 160, plus 8, which is 168. And 35 times 20, which is 700. Easy enough. Oh, but wait. I have to simplify that, because you should always simplify. So, let's see. Let's divide. Let's divide by 4. Divide by 4. Divide by 4. By the way, you may have thought about this. I know I have, but I'm weird, so maybe you haven't. Why are we allowed to do that? Well, 4 over 4, isn't that 1? 1 whole? And what happens when you divide anything by 1 to the value? Nothing. So as long as you're dividing both of them by the same number, all you're doing is dividing by 1. Dividing by 1 doesn't change anything. Anyway, back to work. So, 168 divided by 4. 4 goes into 16 4 times. 4 goes into 8 twice, so that's 42. 4 goes into 7 once with 3 left over. 4 goes into 37 times with 2 left over. 4 goes into 20 5 times. Okay, now what goes into those two? Well, 7. So 42 175ths divided by 7 over 7. All right, 42 divided by 7 is 6. 7 goes into 17 twice with 3 left over and into 25. So therefore, the answer is 6/25. But what a pain. I wish there was an easier way. There is an easier way. Okay, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to do it in great detail with lots of explanation, and then I'm going to show you how to do it easily. Okay, so 8/35 times 20 21st, 21 20ths. So it's the same thing that we had over here to start with. It's the same one. That's equal to 8 times 21 and 35 times 20, right? But multiplication has commutative properties, so instead of 35 times 20, I'm going to switch it to 20 times 35. That's the same thing. So therefore, that changes into 8/20 times 21/35. That's great. All right. So now, but 8/20, I could simplify 8/20. What divides into both 8 and 20? Both 8 and 20 are divisible by 4. So I'll cross that out and put a 4, and I'll cross that out and I'll put a 5. What divides into both 21 and 35? 7. So I'll cross that out and put a 3, and I'll cross that out and put a 5. And then I get, oh, you know what? I made a mistake. So let me go back and do that again. 8 divided by 4 is not 4. 8 divided by 4 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. 5 times 5 is 25. And look, we got the same value, and I didn't have to deal with giant numbers like 168 and 700. This is called cross-canceling. And you should always cross-cancel. You may have heard something called cross-multiplying. Never cross-multiplying. Cross-multiplying is always wrong, but always cross-cancel. Okay, so let's take a look. Watch. 8 and 20. 8 divided by 4 is 2. 20 divided by 4 is 5. What divides into 21 and 35? 7. I get 3 here, and I get 5 here. Then I just do 2 times 3 is 6. 5 times 5 is 25. As long as you are doing a numerator with a denominator, you should always cross-cancel. This is much easier than this. Always cross-cancel. All right. Let's try this one. So I've got 11 and 33. What goes into 11 that also goes into 33? Well, 11 is only 11 times 1. So does 1 of course goes into everything. Does 11 go into 33? Yes, it does. So I'll cross this out. 11 divided by 11 is 1. I'll cross this out. 33 divided by 11 is 3. What divides into 14 that also divides into 18? Well, 14 is 2 times 7. Does 7 go into 18? No. Does 2 go into 18? Yes. So we'll divide them both by 2. 14 divided by 2 is 7. 18 divided by 2 is 9. 7 times 1 is 7. 3 times 9 is 27. And that's finished, and we know that it cannot be simplified. That is the value. Hey, look, it's a mixed number. Mixed numbers stink. Always get rid of them. Never use mixed numbers, because I can't do anything with it. That's not a 5. It's a 5 and 5/9. All right, so let's get rid of it. 5 times 9 is 45, plus 5 is 50/9, times 7/35. Now I can do my cross-canceling. What divides into both 50 and 35? Well, 35 is 5 times 7. 7 doesn't go into 50, but 5 does. So we'll divide this by 5 and I get 10. Divide this by 5 and get 7. What goes into 7 and 9? Nothing. Can't do any cross-canceling there. But remember, it can be any numerator with any denominator. What goes into both 7 and 7? 7 does. So that's 1 and that's 1. 10 times 1 is 10. 9 times 1 is 9. And that is the answer. I know some of you might be tempted to put 1 and 1/9, but don't, because mixed numbers stink. Leave it as a fraction. Okay, that's the idea of this. Do you think you understand it? Okay.